Hello everyone, I'm Hanan Bashir. I'm currently pursuing chemistry from IIT Bombay. Today I'm going to discuss lecture 5 of CH104 in organic chemistry. So let's start. So these we are going to today discuss about lower oxidation state halides. We know that in group 13 the diatomic halides MX are formed, and except thallium all are unstable towards disproportionation reaction, and even gaseous TiCl is also unstable to disproportionation. AlCl and GaCl are formed by reaction of Al and gallium metal with HCl at high temperature. So warming will get this reaction that MCl forms MCl3 plus 2M, and BCl3 when reacts with mercury will gives this B2Cl4 plus HgCl2, and similarly with copper we'll get B2Cl4 plus CuCl. Disproportionation reaction is when some atoms of the element are oxidized and some are reduced. So one oxidation state goes up or and second one goes down. Then B2Cl4 decomposes at room temperature to form progressively this B8Cl8 or B9Cl9 and further compounds of boron and chlorine. And gallium occurs in the species Ga2X6 2 minus. This contains Ga bond and accounts for 2 plus oxidation state, and these are readily oxidized by halogens to form GaX4 minus. So these are the structures, and these are the names of the geometry. This is tetrahedron. This is tricap trigonal prism. Then this is the tricap trigonal prism again, and this is boron hydrides. Boron hydrides, how they are formed? They are formed in the molecular sequence of BnHn plus 4 and BnHn plus 6. The simplest one being BH3 can never be formed because it is always in the dimeric form B2H6. The smallest one is B2H6 diboron formed by the reduction of boron trihalide LiLH4. When we react with this, the trifluoride of boron, then we get this. Now, these are the sequence, just as I said, if you put n equal to 2, 5, so on, we get this. And if you add n equal to 4, 5, so on, we get this. And boron, sp3, orbital, and hydrogen 1s, they form this type of compound where this is 3 center 2 electron bonding. And at high temperature, they tend to form the bigger molecules, which is B4H10, B4H9, and this is B2H6, and it leads to B5H9. Then, apart from neutral borons, there is extensive series of boron hydride anions which have close polyhedral skeletons. This is B6H6 2 minus, and this is B12H12 2 minus. This will have octahedral structure, this will have icosahedral structure, and these are in the form of these cages. Then this is Wade's rule. So Wade's rule is a basic technique by how we can classify the boron hydrides into particular types. So how do we do it? So we will add all the valence electrons on boron and hydrogen, 3 for boron and 1 for hydrogen. And after adding them, we will subtract. Then we will subtract 2 electrons for each boron hydride combination. The number of electrons divided by 2 gives the number of SEP, which determines the type of cluster. And a cluster of n vertices occupied by n boron atoms gives n plus 1 SEP. Then if it will have such structure and we will get n boron atoms, then this is called closo. At octahedron will have 7 SEP because 6 atoms, and plus 1 will do 7, and then icosahedral will get 12 plus 1, which is 13. If there is n plus 1 SEP and n minus 1 boron atoms, the cluster is derived from a closo structure, and it will have one missing atom or one missing vertex, which is called a nido cluster. And there is n plus 1 SCP and n minus 2 boron atoms, then it is arachno cluster. Similarly, when there are more than n boron atom and n plus 1 SCP, and extra boron atoms occupy keeping position over triangular faces. So let's applicate this. So if you have B5H11, we know that 5 into 3 accounting for a valence electron of boron, and 11 into 1 for accounting for each electron hydrogen, we get 26. Subtract 10 for each BH pair, so double for each pair, for each pH pair, so we will get minus 10 and equal to 16, and which is total 8 pairs. That 8 plus 1 equal to 9. Oh, sorry, n plus 1 equal to 8 SCP. So number of vertices equal to 7, because we know this gives us the SCP, and on deducting 1 we get the number of vertices, which is 7. But we have total 5 atoms and 2 are missing from here. So 2 vertices missing, so this is arachno type. And but there's an issue that Wade's rule cannot tell which vertices are missing. So this is an example where you can see this has n plus 1 SEP and n boron atoms. So since it has 6 in total, it is close. So one when missing boron atom is there, we get this nido structure, and this is arachno. Then why do you think that B6H62 minus adopts an octahedral structure? So when we applied Wade's rule, we will get that the SEP will come out to be 7 and 6 will be the total vertices. And since there will be total 6 vertices, we will get this octahedral cage structure. Then this is the different structure of, formed by boron when we have n number of atoms. So this is n equal to 5, this is n equal to 6, n equal to 7, n equal to 8, n equal to 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are the names. This is trigonal bipyramidal. This is octahedron. This is pentagonal bipyramidal. This is dodahedron. This is tricap trigonal prism. This is bicap square antiprism. This is octahedron, and this is icosahedron. Then deltahedron, which is a plural of deltahedra, is polyhedron which have all equilateral triangles, which is formed using this method. So B2H, when we react with NaBH4, we get this. Then B3H8, when we react with HCl, we get B4H10 and this subcompounds. And then we get B3H8 minus when we react with HBr. Then we get B3H7Br minus, and NaB3H8 when we react with diglyme, then we get this Na2B2 B6H6. This is triglyme, and similarly, if you remove one part of this, you get diglyme. The group 14 elements now we are going to discuss. So the first one is carbon, of course, and the periodic element properties changes as the chemistry, and the stability and abundance of CC bonded compounds are also different. The importance of pi bonding is very significant in this group. There's some things which you have to keep in mind. The oxidation state common is +4. In hydrocarbon, the oxidation is formally -4 because of higher electronegativity of the counter anion. And Ge shows some stable +2 compound. GeI2, although the +4 state is predominant, the +2 is shown because of our inert pair effect. Tin shows both +2 and +4, and +2 is reducing agent. Whereas Pb +4 is oxidizing, obviously it has go back to +2 because of inert pair effect, and Pb +2 is stable, and PbO2 is a powerful oxidizing agent. Then these elements in principle show +2 using 2p electrons, and more energy will be formed for C and Si for promotion of n's electron. So promotion of an electron from NH2 to NP requires energy. So it can form more, but this cost is satisfied because of Bohr bonding, and tetravalent state is very stable for carbon and silicon. Bond strength decreases down the group, and important feature of group 14 element in catenation is more important down the group. And carbon shows allotropy, which is the most important thing that it has, which is graphite, diamond, and soot. Like this, allotropes are seen. Uh, then you can see this is a structure of graphite, which has layers or layer. Then this is the structure of diamond. Similarly, we can go through them again. That this is diamond, this is graphite, this is Lons Delite, and this is C6 Buckminster fluorine. Just we know the buckyballs. This is C540, and this is C70. Then Lonsdaleite is a hexagonal allotrope which was found in meteorites. So when it hit Earth, we were able to discover them. In graphite, the carbon atoms form planar sheet using 6-membered rings, and PZ forms extensive delocalized pi system. Then attraction between them is very weak, so they can slip over them each other. In contrast, diamond has a 3D network, and it is the strongest thing we know which exists. And another molecular allotrope is the buckyballs, which is discovered by R. Buckminster Fuller. Silicon, germanium, tin, and lead. Silicon is the most abundant after oxygen in Earth's crust and occurs as SiO2, which is silica. Germanium is least common and occurs in some zinc and silver ores. Silicon and germanium adopt diamond-like structure, so they are quite stable. And tin main structure occurs as castrite SnO2, and the main ore of lead is PbS, which is galena. And all group 14 members are fairly unreactive. because they are the intermediate between metals and non-metal, but carbon is classified as non-metal and silicon is a metalloid. Silicon and germanium attack only at HF4 and all other reactive unreactive towards halogens. The reaction of graphite fluorine at 400 degree gives graphite fluoride SFX whole bracket N. So that's a polymer, and it is colorless when X equal to 1. So this is the reaction. 8C plus K gives KC8, which is solid. And this is structure of graphite fluoride. So there is a 660 picometer gap between their layers and acts as a solid lubricator. And this is the structure where the potassium atoms get between the layers of graphite and form KC8. And hydrogen organometallic compounds, and this is SiCl4. When reacts with our LiLH4, which is the strongest reducing agent, we get SiH4. Similarly for other elements also. And catenation is restricted to silicon and germanium up to these molecules only, but carbon it can go under even further catenation, and only SN2 or S6 is known for tin. So this is a compound where there is double bond between Pb. There are other compounds also like Me3SNCl and 84Pp, which is an anti-knock additive, which we used to add in petrol. Now it is banned, and double bonding is not favorable as we go down the group. And tetrahalides MX4 exist in all group except for PbI4, which is too strong for an oxidizing agent. So silicon plus 2Cl2 gives SiCl4, and for iodides as well, we can see that 4 coordination number is preferred. And when we add water, then we get SiO2 and NH2 as coordination. And these are some problems which we can observe. So why B2H still obs an icosahedral structure? So we can use Wade's rule to find it. A boron contains this percentage of boron and hydrogen. So we can find the percentage rule and then use elemental analysis to find the molecular formula. Then why we observe the bicap square antiprismatic structure for beta-10. So again, Wade's rule comes here, and using Wade's rule, we will find the bonding in these compounds. So from there, we end our lecture 5. Thanks for watching.